Hello children. The most requested topic for my next video was Yorkshire folklore, and that's what I'm doing now. But before we start, I've just got a few things to say. Now, I generally tend to avoid the study of folklore for a few reasons. One is that it's so difficult to find what is genuine folklore and what's just made up. A lot of it, some Victorian guy 100 years ago was like, you know, this story, yeah, that's some ancestral piece of Yorkshire folklore. But it just made it up. In fact, I did a social experiment where I told people about a ghost which lives in the Nag's Head pub in Hull, and they were like, wow. They all believed it, despite the fact I'd literally just made the entire thing up. But because it sounded oldie-worldy and folklore, they all believed it. I also avoid it because a lot of people take themselves far too seriously and they try way too hard, and they're like, I am the Scold of Yorkshire retelling our ancestral tales. And I find that whole thing cringy. If you don't like it, welcome to Yorkshire Airlines, where we fly as high as I want for as long as I bloody want, because I'm captain, alright? Anyway, today I'm going to be telling stories about my two favourite things, devils and dragons. There's a lot of individual stories about devils, which I've spliced together into one for your enjoyment. So, let's start. Now, the devil's constantly prowling around looking for souls, and he decided to come to Yorkshire. I don't know why. And one of his tricks is to build a devil's bridge, and he's walking on the way to Kirkby Lonsdale, which is on the border of Cumbria, and he's walking through Giggleswick. Now, if you get up a map, Giggleswick is directly southeast of Kirkby Lonsdale, and if you follow that southeasterly direction, you'll find that the devil started in insert your most hated West Riding city here. Anyway, so he's walking along Giggleswick, and he's carrying in his apron, because everyone knows the devil wears an apron, he's carrying in his apron these big stones which he's going to build the bridge with. But because he's so stupid, and this is a recurring theme, he ends up dropping them, and he drops a few of them at Giggleswick in what's called the Apron Full of Stones, and you can visit that today. So he carries on, and believe it or not, he drops more stones, because I tell you, this devil is useless. And he drops what's called the Big Stone, or the Great Stone of 4 stones, because there was originally 4 stones, but now there's just 1. And this is at a place called Tatham Fells, which is on the Lancashire border in a place called Bentham. I think that's in Cumbria. I don't know. Anyway, he finally gets to Kirkby Lonsdale, and he's about to build this bridge. Now, the bridge was actually built by the monks at St Mary's Abbey in York, but you never let the facts get in the way of a good story. So he's about to build this bridge, and he meets this old woman, and he makes an agreement, and he goes, all right, I'll build this bridge, but I want the soul of the first thing that crosses over it. Now, this woman, she manages to outsmart the Prince of Darkness, because she throws a loaf of bread over the bridge and her dog runs after it, meaning her soul is fine. The devil's got the dog soul, but, you know, the dog's in eternal perdition in the fires of hell. But the point is, the woman's outsmarted the devil. And he's like, oh, foiled again. So he's so angry at not being able to get any souls yet that he decides, I'm just going to throw rocks at Aldborough, near York. Now, I don't know why he particularly targeted Aldborough. It's a nice place. But anyway, he wants to destroy Aldborough. But again, because he is so useless, he misses, and he ends up hitting the Borough Bridge instead at what's called the Devil's Arrows, which are 3 Neolithic standing stones, which, again, you can visit today. Now, at this point, you're kind of feeling sorry for the devil. He's supposed to be, you know, the great evil one who's capturing souls, but so far it's coming off as pretty useless, and the worst is yet to come. It goes to Filey to build a spit of land called Filey Brig, and he drops his hammer into the sea. And as he goes into the sea to pick up his hammer, he picks up a haddock instead, which is why, if you ever get a chance to look at a haddock, it will always have a dark spot near the head, because that's where the devil picked it up. Wow, isn't that amazing? Now, that's all the stories about devils, and we're coming on to the stories about dragons. Okay, dragons. Now, dragon stories are 10 a penny in Yorkshire, and to be honest, they're all the same. If you've already heard the story of the lantern worm, you've pretty much heard it all. All these stories are about a dragon which just eats everything and are eventually destroyed by a noble knight, and the story usually involves a dog, spiky armour, or regenerating dragon limbs, so, you know, they're kind of all the same. But my favourite Yorkshire dragon story is The Dragon of Wantley, because it's a satirical poem which just takes a mickey out of every single serious dragon story. It's great. It was written in 1685 and published later and probably revised, but is absolutely hilarious. It is a cracking piece of literature, and yes, it will take me about 7 minutes to read through, but it is all for your enjoyment. So, Old stories tell how Hercules a dragon slew at Lerna, with 7 heads and 14 eyes to see and well discern her. But he had a club this dragon to drub, or he had never done it, I warrant ye. But more of more hall with nothing at all, he slew the dragon of Wantley. This dragon he had 2 furious wings, each one upon each shoulder, with a sting of his tail as long as a flail, which made him bolder and bolder. He had long claws, and in his jaws 44 teeth of iron, with a hide as tough as any buff, which did him round and violent. Have you not heard how the Trojan horse held 70 men in his belly? This dragon was not quite so big, but very near, I'll tell ye. Devoured he poor children 3 that could not with him grapple, and at one sup he ate him up as one would eat an apple. All sorts of cattle this dragon did eat, some say he ate up trees, and that the forests sure he would devour up by degrees. For houses and churches were to him geese and turkeys, he ate all and left them behind. But some stones did Jack that he could not crack, which on hills you will find. In Yorkshire, near fair Rotherham, the place I know it well, some 2 or 3 miles or thereabouts, I vow I cannot tell. But there is a hedge just on the hill edge, and Matthew's house hard by it. Oh, there and then was this dragon's den, you could not choose but spy it. Some say this dragon was a witch, some say he was a devil, for from his nose a smoke arose, and with it burning snivel, and which he cast off when he did cough in a well that he did stand by, which made it look just like a brook running with burning brandy. Hard by a furious knight there dwelt, of whom all towns did ring, for he could wrestle, play at quarterstaff, kick, cuff and huff, call son of a whore, do any kind of thing. By the tail and the mane with his hands twain he swung a horse till he was dead, and that which is stranger, for he very anger ate him all up but his head. These children, as I told, being eat, men, women, girls, and boys, sighing and sobbing, came to his lodging and made a hideous noise. Oh, save us all, more of more hall, thou peerless knight of these woods! Do but slay this dragon, who won't leave us a rag, and we'll give thee all our goods. Tut, tut, quoth he, no goods I want, but I want in sooth a fair maid of 16, as brisk and keen, with smiles about the mouth, hair black as sloe, skin white as snow, with blushes her cheeks adorning, to anoint me all night ere I go to fight, and to dress me in the morning. This being done, he did engage to hew the dragon down, but first he went new armour to bespeak at Sheffield town, with spikes all about, not within but without, of steel so sharp and strong, both behind and before, arms, legs, and all o'er, some 5 or 6 inches long. Had you but seen him in this dress, how fierce he looked and how big, you'd have thought him for to be some Egyptian porcupig. He frighted all, cats, dogs, and all, each cow, each horse, and each hog, for fear they did flee, for they took him to be some strange outlandish hedgehog. To see this fight, all people then got up on trees and houses, on churches some, and chimneys too, but these put on their trousers, not to spoil the hose. As soon as he rose, to make him strong and mighty, he drank by the tail 6 pots of ale and a quart of aqua vitae. It is not strength that always wins, for wit doth strength excel, which made our cunning champion creep down into a well, where he did think this dragon would drink, and so he did in truth. As he stooped low, he rose up and cried, "Bow!" and hit him in the mouth. "Oh," quoth the dragon, "pox take thee, come out, thou disturbst me in my drink." And then he turned and shat at him. Good luck, how did he stink! "Beshrew thy soul, thy body's foul, thy dung smells not like balsam, thou son of a whore, thou stinkst so sore, sure thy diet is unwholesome." Our politic knight on the other side crept out upon the brink, and gave the dragon such a douse he knew not what to think. "Right cock," quoth he, so, do you see?" And then at him he let fly, with hand and with foot, and so they went to it, and the word it was, "Hey boys, hey!" "Your words," quoth the dragon, "I don't understand." Then to it they fell at all, like 2 wild boars, so fierce, if I may compare great things with the small. 2 days and a night with this dragon did fight our champion on the ground. Though their strength it was great, their skill it was neat, they never had one wound. At length the hard earth began to quake, the dragon gave him a knock, which made him to reel, and straightway he thought to lift him as high as a rock, and thence let him fall, but more of more haul, like a valiant son of Mars. As he came like a lout, so he turned him about, and hit him a kick on the arse. "Oh," quoth the dragon with a deep sigh, and turned 6 times together, sobbing and tearing, cursing and swearing out of his throat of leather, "More of more haul, oh thou rascal, would I had seen thee never! With a thing at thy foot thou hast pricked my arse gut, and am quite undone for ever." "Murder, murder," the dragon cried, alack for grief! "Had you but missed that place you could have done me no mischief." Then his head he shaked, trembled and quaked, and laid down he laid and cried. First on one knee, then on back tumbled he, so groaned, kicked, shat, and died. Now, isn't that amazing? That is hands down the finest piece of English poetry I've ever read in my life. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it entertaining at least, and hope to see you soon.